Okay, hello everyone. I think I'll just run through the PowerPoint presentation. If you don't know what Puppy Garden is, here's the logo. But when I used to work at Cartoon Network, they make you do a Cartoon Network intern pitch at the end of each semester. So I was in the fall 2017 semester. I was on Close Enough as the intern, and this was the pitch deck that I made for it. The pitch Bible. The story behind it was that I took forever to figure out what I was going to do for this thing. It was like getting super late, close to like December almost, when we had to present, and I had no ideas. I barely worked on it because I was doing thesis. I think it was senior year. I was doing thesis during my senior year. I had like no time. I didn't even have like any animation done for my thesis by that point, so I was super behind on everything. What ended up happening was, what did happen? I think I was sitting at like a pizza place, like Blaze Pizza, with Cameron Gavinsky, and he's like a comedian and he's our friend from college. And we just tried to figure out what I could do for my final pitch presentation. And then I kept thinking about this story that my grandma kept telling me every time I went back home during college. And it was that my dad took out a loan from her to start a pig farm because that was his big dream. So he took out the loan, and I think the pig farm did not work out. I am not the son of a farmer, unfortunately, but I thought that was funny because my grandma would just like make fun of my dad relentlessly for that. So we ended up having more dogs in our family from like grandma's generation and from my dad's. I think me and Gavinsky's idea was that we would have like, instead of a farm where you have like pigs there, it's like a dog farm. So a lot of the ideas came from the dog being grown out of the ground. I like the aesthetic of like sprouts. You know, those dogs with sprouts coming out of their head. I don't think it was very original at the time, but it made sense in the world of the pitch, and I think it made sense for like what me and Gavinsky were trying to go for. So this is kind of how it was all born, from that one idea, from that joke my grandma kept making whenever I came back home. So Puppy Garden was kind of born from that. Like I said earlier, it was about puppies growing out of the ground and me and my family trying to get them adopted. And that was like the life cycle of those dogs in this universe. You make deliveries for people who are adopting. The main characters would plant the dogs out of like seed packets, and they would grow, and then everybody on the farm would help out. And then these little drawings down here were the promotion materials that I drafted up while I was at Cartoon Network. So while I was there, I asked my friend Katie, who's in chat, if she had spare sunflower seeds. So I ziplocked them up into little baggies. I made paper cutout bags. I had to like find a template and everything. I put my logo on it, a drawing of the OG dog, this one right here. I stuck it on the front, and then I put, instead of a flyer, I did like a sunflower seed packet, and I spread them across like the floors of Cartoon Network. And apparently it was a hit because people saw them, and people I worked with later on were like, I remember these things. Back then I was trying to do something different with everything. That's kind of how I think I got the Cartoon Network internship, was that I tried to do different things than what I was used to, or things that nobody was thinking of at the time. So part of this was to like flex my creative like skills and try to advertise the damn thing. Nobody outside of my show showed up, but I thought that it was at least a cool, memorable thing. And I thought it was nice that people remembered after the internship pitch when I returned as like an employee. So I thought that was really cool. And then I bought stuffed animal dogs, and then I bought like Home Depot like clay pots, and like this was like bundled in. If you came to the pitch, you got like a seed packet and a dog in a pot. So that's kind of how that went. It was a success in my mind. A lot of people had good suggestions when I like finished pitching the idea to them, and it was pretty loose. It was just like only these like, I had a few more pages of like each of the families like characteristics, but other than that, like that was it. I did maybe like 10 drawings for this pitch, I was pretty proud that people enjoyed it without having to put too much work into it. Then afterwards, I think after all the encouragement from my coworkers and my friends, I decided to like keep working on it outside of the internship. In my free time while I was like waiting to get a job in animation, I would do drawings like this. I was just trying to figure out my style and who they were as characters. I did a lot of development on like what they would look like, what their attitudes were, their interactions. I try to branch out and add like other characters. So at first it was just my patriarchy. So it would be my grandpa, my dad, and me, because I think that dynamic was really funny and interesting to look into, because my dad is a really serious guy and my grandpa's a really silly guy, and I think me and him were a lot the same. So I thought it was funny how that generational gap kind of makes opposites. So but I kind of got a little bit of flack for that when I was pitching it, because there were no female characters in my pitch, which is fair. So I wanted to add my grandma, because my grandma's also a really silly character, and I wanted to expand on that universe. So to mirror the puppy garden, there was a kitten Patch that I made up as well. So it was like a character based on my mom, a character based on my grandma, and eventually my sister too. And then this is a few characters. Like, I was trying to figure out, okay, they're adopting dogs out, but like, why would anyone need certain dogs? And then someone in the room during my intern pitch was like, maybe like people need them for like jobs, and it made me think about like the Lilo and Stitch like animated series. So finding like a pet that helps someone with their life. I made this like super allergic family who only had like naked dogs and like hypoallergenic dogs. So I thought that that was something that I wanted to build onto. And I also needed some kind of like motivating factor for them to fight against, I think, in my mind. So I came up with this bad guy. I started working on a storyboard for that. So it would be the main family people versus this evil corporation guy. So I ended up trying to make it like, what would farmers kind of be like fighting against most of the time? I thought it would be funny if it was like genetically modified like crops, and that whatever they were growing in the garden besides dogs were also like just normal crops and other things like that. So this company would be like really obsessed with making genetically superior things, and they would be modifying the dogs, getting rid of the Sprout because it was unnatural, messing them up so they get even more mutated. So along the way, this is kind of like the idea that I ran with for the bad guys. I was pretty proud of that. I even tried making a comic, this is what that's part of. But comics are really, really hard, so I kind of gave up on that. Eventually, the idea for having dogs grow out of the ground felt not quite there all the way. I tried to think of, if it's in Hawaii, what's gonna make it special? Because anybody can have dogs that sprout out of the ground anywhere. The dog's character's name is Mochi, all the way back here. Like Mochi, I named it Mochi just because I wanted to be a little more Japanese, but I think it kind of funnily played out well, because I was talking to somebody about Poi Mochi and how that connected with Poi dogs. So I think around 2019, well, actually probably like 2021 or two, I started thinking about how it could change to a Poi dog instead of like a regular dog with a sprout on its head. I thought this was really clever. So Poi Mochi is a snack. If you haven't had it before, it's just a very oily donut that has like poi and like mochi flour like infused together, and that's how you make the donut. It's really good. And poi is just like mashed up taro that's pounded by these rocks called pohaku ku'iai, and it makes this like super sticky staple food that Hawaiians used to eat a lot. It's really good. I mean, I like it. It's pretty bland. Sometimes it can be sweet, but it's like one of my favorite foods here in Hawaii. So I tried to change up the entire like trajectory of the pitch and just make it about, okay, it's a family, they're a Hawaiian family, and they're making poi to sell, and this poi magically turns into poi dogs. And the way I thought it was gonna be, I was like, how am I gonna get it to make sense for people in the mainland who don't know this? So I came up with this like short comic that was like a dog and its owner, and then the dog dies, and when the dog got buried, it turned into kalo, which is taro in Hawaiian, and then they steamed the taro and they made it into poi, and that's how they make poi dogs. So I thought that that was a good way to get it to make sense. In Hawaiian mythology, there was a myth about Haloa, and it was like two brothers. One died prematurely, I think, so they buried him, and then that brother became the first taro plant. So that's kind of where I got this idea from. It would like kind of branch off of that mythology. So that's kind of where it went. And then this is a poi dog. It's like an extinct breed of dog. This is a photo from when it was at like the Honolulu Zoo as part of like a breeding campaign that didn't last very long. It's not that they got eaten out of extinction or anything. I think they were just bred into so many different dog breeds that there are no purebred poi dogs anymore. So that's why whenever people in Hawaii talk about like a mixed breed dog, they're referring to poi dogs, because there are no full-blooded poi dogs anymore. It's super interesting history. I think it's a good thing to explore, but that's where the origin of the poi dog name came from. So it's all these things. It's the food, it's the poi mochi snack, it's the poi dog. I think this is what really makes me hyperfixate on this story and trying to get it finished, because I think it's a fun idea. I want to make sure that people see it, and that, you know, I'm the first to get to this part of it at least. I know that like people make poi dog stuff here at home, but I just want to make it myself. So other than that, I think I really enjoy creating characters in this world. I thought it would be fun if each type of pet had their own animal like farm kind of deal going on. I like the idea of the kitten patch, and I wanted to expand on that. So I have like a whole bunch of different families for like every other kind of animal, and they would all live in Hawaii, and they would all have like different purposes. Like I figured the rodent girl, which I might merge with the bunny girl, I thought it would be fun if they were like rounding up mongoose and invasive rats, and that's why they exist, and they're trying to like control those populations. And same thing with these with the reptile guy. I thought it would be fun if him and his family, their like business is working at the airport and making sure that snakes and like other exotic reptiles that don't exist in Hawaii don't get released out into the wild, or they go hunting for them and they like preserve them and share them from like a sanctuary. I thought that would be cool for everybody to do. I thought that it would be fun to have the like bird girl take care of honey creeper populations here in Hawaii, and they're like really endangered, unique birds that shape their bills to the flowers that they drink nectar from. I wanted to have like a fish kid that took care of fish ponds in Hawaii, bug girl with a happy face spider. I would love to get into what farm animals are like here, and I wanted this guy to have a pig that is secretly the demigod Kamapua'a. I thought that would have been really funny. Like he's just trying to hide out in somebody's farm. And a zoo. I think it'd be fun to have like a zoo character too. So these are all the fun little kids that I tried to make up to have like a big gang of people on the island to give it some life. And so that all these people can interact with each other, and I can make more episodes about that. So I thought that would be really fun. That's kind of where I would go with a second episode. And it's more kids stuff. Just a little exploration of like a few of the kids, or maybe the animals that they have. This would be like the cat girl that lives at the kitten patch. These are the like mongoose and rat that I keep thinking about having. I would love to do a thing where all the rats they like get on island, they form like a little Hamtaro like house and they all live in there. I really want to do like a fake Hamtaro episode. I think that'd be so fun. That's like my dream to get to in like a 5th episode or something. The bug girl, I really want her to have like a happy face spider that she wears as like a mood ring. So like whenever she's mad, sad, or happy, it'll like make the face and hide on her ring finger. Lizards for the lizard guy. I would love for it to kind of tackle like dragons and like dinosaurs. And also, I think Hanauma Bay is the one where it's supposed to be like a giant lizard that like rests on the ground, and that's what the bay is like made out of. I think it'd be fun to like talk about that story and have it connect in some way. And then here are some like honey creepers. And I wanted to get into their families too. Like I said earlier, they all would probably be doing something on island to help the ecosystem and kind of figure out how population management for invasive species would like help their island. So that's kind of something I'll explore later on. I'm also adding my sister in. I think that would help round out the family. Changed up some of the Poi Dog designs to be a little rounder. And also right here, oh whoops, I wanted to do something where these Poi Dogs, some of them would get loose and they would have personalities of their own. So like one would be like kind of like an evil Shiba, and like a poodle, a prissy like poodle, and then like this big tough guy pit bull that's based on my dog. And yeah, this would kind of be the main lineup outside of my main character, Kenny, who's named after my dad. His middle name's Ken. And this would kind of be the lineup outside of him and Mochi. And then lastly, I think I keep wanting to bring in Hawaiian culture into the project. So I really wanted to have it be like this guy Haloa Nakalau Kapalili is like still alive. And he's just like creeping on the family, making sure that they're like taking care of Kalo, because that was his kind of like origin story. And that his brother Haloa, which is this like little tarot guy, like they're the reason why that the Kalo at this farm produces like living Poi Dogs. And I really wanted to do this sort of like funny Momotaro legend where the dad in this series doesn't have like a wife or anything, so but he really wants kids. So I wanted the kids to come Momotaro style from like being gifted as like babies that live inside the Kalo. I thought it'd be really funny. So that's kind of it for the lore drop. The pilot itself that I'm trying to make before my birthday this year, which would be July 3rd. This is the plot summary. First, I wanted the bad guys to want to exploit the price of poi in Hawaii because it's so freaking expensive. I want them to like want to GMO it so that they can make like maximum profits without having to grow any kalo themselves. I wanted to show that the family is like adopting out dogs, and like you can take a chunk out of your own dog and then just like put poi into it or like feed it pa'iai, and then it'll like make poi for you. So it's kind of like an endless supply. You only need to like feed your poi dog like bits of taro and they'll poop out like pa'iai. I thought that would be funny. I wanted all the kids to be a part of the first episode, so I want them to all like storm the storefront and kind of like confront the dad for not letting Kenny go out and play with them. But Kenny still needs to do chores, so outside he's going to be tending to the poi dogs that exist that they're trying to get adopted, and also plucking them out of the lo'i kalo, or like the taro patch that's in the back of their house. I wanted the evil guys to come steal Mochi and try and get a sample so that they can replicate it on their own. I want Kenny to like kick his ass, and then at the end I want them to still get away with like a little sample, and then that's what they're gonna make like an evil poi dog out of. But it's gonna be sour poi, or like spoiled, or rotten. So that's kind of the plot summary of what I'm asking for like funding for. There's some things that I wanted to include, or I wanted to pay people for their time. So there are two ways that I think I'm gonna try and get there. I wanted people to follow on Twitch and sub on YouTube, just so that I could reach the thresholds to start making money on streams and YouTube views. So that by the time July comes around, I should probably meet all of the thresholds that I need to get like affiliated on Twitch and to start making ad revenue when the pilot does come out. I also opened up a Patreon, and it's like totally optional. Like nobody has to sign up or anything, but I had one person very generously give me 100 on Ko-Fi, and I think I was like, okay, I owe this guy something because he's being so nice about this. So I made all the tiers based off of him giving me a hundo. Thank you, Baron. I'll shout you out because you totally did not have to do that. All of the tiers will get you something when it comes to the pilot. For $1 on Patreon, you get a credit. Just like your name will be like a shout out in the end of the pilot. And I'll show how many months you sub to the Patreon. $5 will give you access to the Puppy Garden Discord and a higher tier credit. $20 will include access to like a Q&A chat and a suggestion box. So if you have anything that you want to contribute to the show while I'm still kind of like making it, that gives you like 3 months to share your thoughts. And I'm pretty open. I'm not too close to ideas, and I'll credit you for anything that you suggest. So that's part of the credit system, is that if you made any changes to the pilot or to the show, I would just probably like parentheses like what you contributed idea wise in the credits of the pilot itself. $50 a month is for people who are like really generous, and also if you have a pet that you want to feature in the show, when the kids all come in, I want them to just like be holding all of their pets on them. So if you have like a favorite animal too, like you can ask for that to be included. But at $50 a month, for any month that you give that, for April, May, and June, like I can make your pet or an animal you like, or if you have a dog, there's gonna be a portion where Kenny is like feeding the dogs or like taking care of them. I wanted to make sure that people had the chance to put their pets in the show. So you have 3 months of like contributions, and your pets or your animals will show up in the pilot itself. And I'll give you a higher tier credit that has the images of your animals in the credits of the film or the short. And then lastly, if you yourself want to be in it, $100 just for 1 month. You don't have to do all 3 months or anything, but you would get a character and an animal. So in total, you could get 3 humans and 3 pets if you do all 6 months. So that's like 3 characters that are all your own. And where you would see these is like at the beginning of the short. I intend on having like a couple of people adopt dogs from the main family. So you would probably just like get a cameo in there, or during a fight scene, maybe they're like passing by a bunch of like random people by the farm. That would probably be where I put you guys as well. So if you wanted to be immortalized in some way, and then your character and your pets would be included as part of like the credits, your name would be next to the character designs, and you'd get the character designs for all your characters as well. I'll send them to you as like art files. You can do anything you want with them. So yeah, that's kind of the way that you can contribute and also get something out of the show. The money would help me a lot with paying a few people that I wanted to pay. I have a lot of nice people who offered like art trades, or I have enough money for some of these things, but it would be nice to recoup that money for myself. So I have a BG artist that I'm working with to get the backgrounds done. I'm trying to do them in CG because that's mainly what they work in. So it'd be great to get them the money that they deserve. I was hoping to get 1 or 2 composers or like music artists that I know to contribute music to the short. So a lot, I think, would go to that. That's kind of what I really wanted to get in there. I have a few people who would do voices, and I know that they would do it for free as friends, but I'd like to pay them as well. So that's part of what these contributions will be going to as well. And lastly, to keep me alive for just a little bit. It'd be nice to feed myself off of this project, but Subs also help with that, if I eventually get there. And just like in general, supporting is like really helpful. So I should be able to stay alive for the next 3 months to get this thing done. But all the money would probably go to friends and family who are trying to help with this project. So yeah, and if there's extra stuff, I'd love to get like some really good animators that I know to help out. I already have some ideas, but I don't want to reach out to them unless I know for sure that I'm above water and what I can afford. And lastly, if we have a lot of extra, I really want to do like cooler merch drops than what I was initially gonna do at launch. I'd love to have a plush. I think I can afford to get a plush, so that would be cool. Some shirts with like the logo or something, I think that'd be nice. Kind of stuff like that would also be what this money is going towards. So no pressure. This is just kind of the idea that I had for what it could be. And if you have any suggestions on things that you are looking for out of this that you would pay for, feel free to let me know. You can always contact me at like my socials, especially my Instagram at ridge.hirano. And I think that's it. That went way faster than I thought.